Hello, I've decided to do a vlog because apparently I have a voice that is good for vlogging, whatever that means. I don't know why, because I just sit here all the time and do lots of fillers, but I'm going to have a go. Usually these are just me chatting rubbish, so this one is going to be just a video version of what I would have wrote down. I suppose that would make it a bit more accessible for people that don't like reading, because I do write quite a lot. Perhaps going to be less articulate because I don't have as much time to think about how I'm wording things, so please forgive me for that. This one is about competitiveness. Also, I just realised I'm like looking at the camera, then I'm not looking at the camera, then I'm looking at the camera, so maybe I'll be a bit twitchy in my eyes, so forgive me for that also. But yeah, this one's on competitiveness. What gave me inspiration for this one was I was having a conversation with a few people that I know, and it was completely unrelated to this topic, but I made a comment that I wasn't very competitive, and someone actually scoffed in my face, and I kind of thought, that's such a weird response, like they clearly think that I'm a really competitive person. And I was kind of trying to think, why is it that they've got that perception? Like, where does that come from? Because this person doesn't spend a lot of time with me, probably hasn't seen me in many capacities to kind of assess, like, realistically whether I am a competitive person or not. And it's not the first time that it's happened, like somebody else has done it to me as well, equally someone who doesn't know me very well. So it kind of got me thinking, like, what is perceived as competitive and what isn't, and why is it that I found that so amusing that someone thought that I was when I didn't think that I was. And I think it's because there's kind of two types of competitiveness, and they both come from kind of similar places. So the first type is the one where you compare yourself against other people and you have to be better than everybody else at whatever it is. And if you're not better than somebody else, you get kind of these illogical kind of feelings of not being good enough, of kind of questionable self-worth. And it's interesting because where do those feelings come from? Why is it that when you do something, any activity, if you're not the best at it, you have feelings of questionable self-worth? Why is that? And I think it comes from childhood, because when you're a child, you are pitted against your peers in a on a regular basis. It's always who does best at spelling on the spelling tests, who can hit the ball the best around us, who can run the fastest and the longest distance, who can throw the javelin the furthest. We're always conditioned, who gets the best grade on an assignment. We're always conditioned to be the best. And the person that does the best gets the most attention, the most acceptance. Whereas the rest of you are just left feeling kind of a little bit inadequate, like for some reason you're deficient and that's why you didn't do as well as somebody else. It's kind of like, as a child, you don't have that kind of cognitive processing to kind of be like, well, just because I'm not good at this one thing in comparison to other people doesn't mean that I have less self-worth, doesn't mean that there's something deficient in me. It's odd, isn't it? And I think as well, particularly if you've grown up with siblings and you have an older sibling, that older sibling's always kind of like the one that does really well at stuff. And that has kind of like the impact on the younger siblings, that the younger sibling always feels this kind of never being quite good enough, which makes them as an adult be this competitive with other people because they're so used to trying to prove themselves in light of that kind of, that sibling rivalry. So as an adult, if you're still being like that and you're still being competitive with other people, and it means that you can't really take part in any activities if you're not good at them. Like, it's only when you're good at something that will bring you joy. It doesn't, you can't, like, for example, you can't go for a run with a group of people and be happy that you're just running and having fun running. You have to be at the front of the pack and be the best. Otherwise, those feelings from childhood rear their head and you feel inadequate and like you're not good enough and like you're not a good runner. Does it matter if you're a good runner? Does that really matter? Surely you're still getting the benefits of running from the activity. And so, you know, if you bring that into your adult life, what you end up doing is you end up competing with people. And when you are better than them at something, because, you know, globally you can't be better than somebody. Like, we're all human beings, we're all on an equal footing. Like, no one of us is better than anybody else. Yes, you might be particularly talented in an area because you've put a lot of bloody work into it and you've got good at something, but that doesn't make you a better person and a better human being that's worthy of more worth than somebody else. That's ridiculous. But if you are competitive as an adult, what you end up doing is you end up kind of having this persona that you are better than other people. And the flip side to that, whilst it might save your self-esteem, it puts other people's self-esteem down, because what you're essentially saying is that you are not as good as me, that I am better than you, and that's not going to win you any friends. Nobody likes to be friends with somebody who's too competitive, because it just ruins the fun of things. You can't just have a go and enjoy yourself. You've always got to deal with someone trying to be better than you. There's nothing worse than trying to just have fun and there being someone there that just has to try to be the best. They have to prove themselves to everybody else that they are good enough, because inside they don't believe they're good enough. It's missing in that person. So they're constantly on this mission to kind of prove it to everybody else around them. No, I would say I'm not like that. I don't compare myself to other people. I never have. And I think if you do compare yourself to other people, the other negative downside to that is that there's always a cap on your efforts. Because once you get to the best, you don't continue to get any better because you've done it, you're the best. You can stop. Whereas that doesn't really get you very far. So that brings me to my second type of competitiveness, which I was probably about 6 months ago. And that is the one where you're competitive against yourself. So you always want to be better in somewhere, always. You never get to the point where you're happy with something because you're constantly thinking about what else could be done to improve. And this comes from childhood as well. This comes from when you're a child and you do something and you go to an adult for that kind of recognition and that acceptance, that they respond with that recognition, but they also give you that little constructive feedback of how to make it better. And that's good because it pushes you and it makes you a very high achiever. You know, people that have this issue of pushing themselves, you know, they become quite successful in terms of their achievements, but what they're not successful at is their mental health, because they push themselves so much that they become anxious and they become, you know, perfectionists, and they can become quite controlling, and they need to have everything as it is, otherwise they don't feel like they're good enough. You know, for example, if you go on a run, I'm using running because this is like, it resonates with me. I used to go on a run, and the next time I went on a run I had to be better than the one I was before. I had to have a better time than the one I had before. I had to be running faster per kilometre than I was before. Otherwise I didn't feel happy with myself. I felt like, why wasn't I getting better? I'm running more, I should be better. It's a lot more complex than that. So it takes the enjoyment out of things, because you're just never happy and you're constantly striving for something and you never get there. And so both types of competitiveness, whether you're doing it against other people or whether you're doing it against yourself, neither of them are particularly healthy. Neither of them are particularly healthy for you or for anybody else that's around you. You know, even the latter type of competitiveness of being against yourself, the problem is that you get so good at something because you have so much determination and perseverance to push yourself neurotically, not healthily. You know, you're kind of burning yourself out because you've got that. You probably will be a lot better than everyone else, and you'll be making everyone feel shit about themselves anyway. So it's like it's no win in any situation to be competitive. Like, we're biologically wired to be competitive for our survival, but we don't really need it anymore. Do we need to be competitive? Do we really need that anymore? Like, I can survive without being competitive, you know. why do you need to be? Does that really make you happy? Because all that my experience of it is that it makes you feel like you're not good enough, because there's always going to be someone that's better than you at something, and equally there's always going to be someone that's worse than you in most cases, unless you're that kind of, you're the one at the top. Only one person can be at the top, and it's unlikely that it's going to be you. So you're never going to be satisfied, you're never going to be happy, you're going to be in friction with everybody around you, you're going to be, you know, putting people down so that you're on top. Like, that's not a healthy way to be. That's, you know, life should be about working together and pulling each other up. And yes, someone might not be particularly good at something, but if you are good at that, then that's your opportunity to help that person to be good at it. You know, this cutthroat kind of capitalist society that we have, that we have to be on our own mission and we have to be the best. Like, why can't you help people along the way? Why can't you upskill people? And yeah, they might get a job above you, but so what? You know, if you've got enough to survive by, what does it matter? You don't have to be the best at something. It's not going to enrich you as a person to be on your lofty pedestal believing that you are better than other people. That is not, you know, a nice trait to have. In society, people don't view that as a good trait, because it's not, is it? You know, it's condescending, it's patronising, it's arrogant, it's, you know, who wants to be around somebody like that? So I would say that I was that latter competitiveness. I would be competitive against myself, and I'm not like that anymore. The past 6 months has made me realise that you can compete with each other and you can have that dog-eat-dog kind of attitude, but you won't make any friends. You won't kind of find out about that person on a deeper level and see what they are like and actually connect with them and get kind of more benefits in a human sense than in an industrious machine work robotic sense. Like, we're not programmed to be like that cognitively. We are biologically, that's why, you know, survival of the fittest, but our brains, our cerebral cortexes have developed so much. We have a much larger prefrontal cortex which assesses all these kind of things. Like, you don't need to be competitive anymore. It's not going to get you to that happy place that you're looking for. So yeah, I'm not competitive anymore. I'm much happier helping people to be better versions of themselves because they want to be, not because they're in competition with themselves or because they're battling with self-worth issues. Like, you know, what, you're a human being, you're a being, you want to grow, you want to get better. Like, that's kind of how it is. But it shouldn't be at the expense of your self-worth, and it shouldn't be at the expense of your relationships with other people. I feel like I'm talking forever. I think I should just stop there.